Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be building a very interactive dashboard. You won't believe how easy it is. We're just using, I don't know, maybe 25 lines of code. If not 20, I don't know, let's just see. So yeah, 30 lines of code, and that's it. That's including white space, okay? 30 lines of code, very interactive stuff, beautiful. It works flawlessly. At the later stage, I'll show you how to do, the Python stuff. This is basically written using Python, a bit of HTML, well, not a bit, but HTML and JavaScript. For beautifying the front end like this, I've used Tailwind. Just heads up, I will not go deep into the implementation of the front side of things. I will share the code at the end of the video. I will leave a link in the description for you guys to download and play with the code yourselves, and maybe comment on it or whatever. But for today's session, I will just focus on the Python side of things, and that'll be it. So just throwing it out there. Yeah, so let's just dive into it and see how things are implemented here. I'm just going to delete everything here from here and then write it again so we can so I can walk you through it. Right, now that our Python has stopped running, this is what my front end looks like, just for reference. I'm going to go back to my code editor and start working on my Python project. For this project to work, there are several libraries you need to install. One of them is Flask. Flask is a micro web framework. It's very lightweight. It allows you to write and deploy a lightweight web applications. I love it. It's so minimalistic. You need to enable Flask cores. You probably won't need to do that if you're using one of Flask's templating engine called Jinja. That way, both your static page and your web server are routing from the same source, so you don't have to implement cores. If you really want to learn a lot about cores, I recommend going and reading the documentation. It's very detailed. There are so many examples there too, and it will show you how to install, and everything you need to know is right here. The third thing you need to install is psutil. It is the library that I'm using to gather information about my computer. It's well written, it's well documented. I highly encourage you all to go and read the documentation. Everything you need to know again is right here. And with that said, I will head over to my code editor and start writing the Python code. Okay, let's get into writing our Python code. Okay, first step is to import our libraries. So from Flask, import Flask with F capital, and then we import Flask core, import cores, all caps. We import psutil. We import datetime as dt. Okay, these are the libraries we need in terms of Python. Flask obviously is our minimalistic web framework. Flask cores is cross-origin resource sharing library that allows us to create communication between our front end and back end that are communicating through different port numbers. There are other ways to do it, but this is the easiest and quickest for me to do. Right, the next step would be to initialize the application. In order to do that, we do app flask double underscore in Python, or Python is that way of saying it is dunder name. Okay, and we also initialize our course. So then we create our endpoint using a decorator called app.route. Our endpoint is called stats, and then we define our function called stats. Takes no argument and returns the dictionary. Okay, so CPU, psutils, CPU percent with interval equals to 1, memory, psutils, virtual memory, memory, disk, we take psutils, disk usage, and the path is the root. Our root is the path. Okay, and battery, psutils, sensor battery. Okay, and then battery plugged, power plugged. Is this one variable needs to be battery plugged. Okay, so we take the battery, power, this is a Boolean value. It should tell us true or false, whether the computer is plugged to power or not. Okay, and then now we return a dictionary, as I said, of type, for example, CPU is going to be CPU, memory. But in order to avoid making typing mistakes, I'm just going to copy and paste it from my older code and then edit from there. Okay, I hope you don't mind me doing that. So indentation is key in Python, don't forget. So memory, we take the percentage of the memory. Disk usage obviously is also percentage. Oh, we forgot about our lovely uptime. So uptime, in fact, is a tricky one, and the reason why we imported datetime right here. Okay, so in order to calculate the uptime in terms of days, what we do is we take the current, we take the boot time and subtract it from the current day, and we take the days value off of that. Okay, sorry, date time, not today. Okay, minus psutil dot boot time, and then we take dt datetime from timestamp function, datetime from timestamp, right? So psutil's boot time method returns a timestamp, but then we convert that timestamp into a datetime object, and then we subtract the two. It will give us the time delta, and then we take the day or the days count from there. So 8 days is what I found earlier, so I'm sure that's not going to change. Oh, it might change actually, because it's past midnight here. And yeah, this is our one and only route for this specific dashboard. App run, and for now we ensure debug is true. Okay, alrighty, I believe we are ready to test our little Python server. If your Flask file is named app.py, or you could just do Flask run, because my JavaScript is configured in such a way that it calls on this endpoint on port number 5001. I'll just make sure for this server to run on that same port number. Yeah, so let's give it a go. Sorry, double hyphen port 5001. Okay, so it's giving me an error saying the address is already in use. There is a way where I can kill that port number, that PID for the specific port number, but I'm just going to run it on a different port number and update my JavaScript in that manner. So I'm just going to run it on the default 5000, or I'll just say Flask run. See, it's running on 5000, and I'll make the necessary adjustment on my JS file. Okay, here, just to give you a highlight of what's happening here, I am calling a function called update stats every 1 second. Here we're giving the parameter in terms of milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. So here the port number is 5001. I will update that to 5000 under /stats. My project should work right now, and there you go, it's working. Amazing. All right, let me just take you back to the JavaScript just to give you a highlight of what's happening right here. As I said earlier, this update stats function is being called every 1 second automatically in order to refresh the dashboard. What it is doing is it's calling that endpoint. The endpoint is returning quote-unquote JSON or dictionary type file, and once that file is received, we're calling another function called update element, which is defined up here. That function takes two arguments: the data that just got received and static keys. These keys, CPU, memory, disk, and battery. Based on this, it populates the progress bar as well as the value on those cards, if you will. So these are like, we got like 5 cards here. So this value and this progress bar are being populated by update element function. But then again, update element function also calls the change color function. Change color function takes care of the color of these progress bars. Okay, so for example, memory here, as you can see, is past 95, so the color is red. The battery here is 80%, so it's kind of yellow, and disk is also yellow, and CPU is blue. Let's jump right back to JS and see why that's the case. There's a condition here that controls those color values. Okay, the only unique or specific case that we're paying attention to is the battery. As you know, for a battery, the higher the value, the better it is. So higher value is going to be represented by green, which is the value anything that's greater than 80 is going to be green. Less than 50, sorry, greater than 50 is yellow. Greater than 20 obviously is blue, and below anything else will be red, which is below that it will be red. Okay, but for the rest of them, anything above 80 is red, anything above 50, less than 80 is yellow, and anything else is blue, because the lesser the value, the better it is. Yeah, and then the progress bar is updated here with the color value. Also, down here we're managing the icon on the battery card here. Right now it's showing battery, but if I connect the computer to a power wall, it should show the plug icon right here. Also, the battery icon right now it's showing full, but here we're doing a calculation in order to determine on which quarter we fall, and based on that we are doing half, quarter, 3/4, and full. So the battery, based on the battery value, the battery icon gets updated automatically. But also once the power, as I said earlier, is plugged, we're switching to FA plug icon. So basically these icons are Font Awesome icons. Font Awesome is included in this project using CDN, CDN Content Delivery Network, as well as Tailwind is included using CDN. That means if you want to run this project offline, it might not look as well as it should. Okay, so just be mindful about that. Whenever you try this project, make sure you're connected. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to download your Font Awesome and Tailwind as offline files and run it that way. Okay, so this is what our front-end JavaScript is doing. And then HTML, I don't think there's anything that needs to be explained here, to be honest. There are just like multiple cards using Tailwind classes, right? That's it. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed.